Hey there. You're watching the Jessa Channel on YouTube. I'm Jessa, and today I am here with Season 3 of Kinlen's Civil War story in Skyrim. In this first episode of Season 3, I thought I would reacquaint us all with Kinlen, with her story, what she's done thus far, her loadout, her perks, her levels, and where we're going to be heading in this Season 3, how we're going to wrap up this story. Kinlen is sitting this morning, which is a midday morning, around 6:05 a.m., It's the 18th of Heartfire, which is September in our calendar in the 4th era in Tamriel. And Kinlen is sitting with her feet somewhat stretched out to the fire and considering having some breakfast, getting washed and getting ready to get going on her day. She is going to be traveling today, so she's going to be packing up her pack. So while I talk to you about what we're going to be focusing on in this episode, I'm going to have Kinlen eat her breakfast. She has some steak, which she's going to crumble up into some vegetable soup. She stands up and walks over to the fire, pulls out her ladle, which always sits next to the fire, and spoons some of that delicious steaming broth that's in that pot there in front of that fire that makes the whole tower loft that she lives in smell fantastic. She's going to have that with some vegetable soup, and she's going to finish up by munching on an apple dumpling. And sometimes, even though Kinlen has very long legs, she can sometimes just manage to fit her feet up underneath her and tuck her nightgown in around her feet while she munches on her dumpling and thinks about her day. She's going to also finish that off with some milk poured into some Orsinian battle tea, her favorite tea. We'll be talking about that, or why that is, as well later on in the episode. So she has some Orsinian battle tea. She's all ready to go. And we're going to finish it off with a swig of water. She's also going to take a look at a book that she likes to look at every morning, The True Nature of the Orcs, which talks about the Code of Malakath, the Daedric Prince, and how orcs were born and came to live or be in Tamriel. It's a very short book, so it's a quick read for her to enjoy every morning as she munches her food. Woo! The sound of a good dinner, or good breakfast, and some invisible food. Good old Skyrim. Yep, that's, I don't know what that is she's eating there. Anyway, that is, from I Need, that allows her to have those animations, even though a lot of the times, does this happen in your game where the food doesn't show up in the hands of the player or the NPC? Sometimes it does, most of the time it does, but every once in a while it doesn't. So maybe that's just me. Who knows? Okay, so Kinlen's going to head over to the wash basin here and pull out, from just next to the wash basin, sits some Dragon's Tongue soap, which smells fantastic, despite the fact that it's called Dragon's Tongue. There's a flower named Dragon's Tongue. It doesn't actually smell like a dragon's tongue, because I'm imagining that dragons don't floss at all, like ever. So, you know, they are in desperate need of a dental hygienist, and the soap would not be fresh smelling at all. Anyway, she's going to take that Dragon Tongue soap and make herself all prepared, get down to her skivvies, pour some water out of the bucket, and put it into her wash basin. I love that the soap actually gets bubbles that up in the air. Isn't that awesome? That is awesome. that is Bathing in Skyrim, and we'll also be talking not only just about Kinlen's loadout, but mods that are pertinent to her playthrough. So she puts on her clothes, and first thing we're going to do is get her, let's see if we can get, so let's see if I can do this. Back up a little bit. We want to get her in the light is what I'm trying to do. There we go. All right. So as Kinlen rifles through her pack, she takes stock of her armor and weapons. She is very well trained by Brother Ramon, her teacher and trainer, priest in Bruma, where she is from, well, where she was trained. She is from the Imperial City. In any case, drilled into her day after day after day after day that your armor and weapons are only as good as you care for them. So she does care for her armor and weapons and makes sure that they are in good shape. This is her main outfit. This is a heavy armor outfit. My mod list is available in the description box below. I have sorted my mods by category so that you can easily find them. The armor category and the categories are alphabetized so that you just scroll down until you see armor and you'll be able to see all the different armor mods that I have. That link is to ModWatch, and it allows me to keep my mod list up to date. So it's very easy to do, and I recommend that you, if you also want to share your mod list with people, that ModWatch is the way to do that. You can find out more about ModWatch on the Skyrim Nexus. In any case, this is Kinlen's main outfit, her heavy armor outfit, and when we look at her perks, you're going to see how much she has invested in her heavy armor look. Kinlen does not like the cold of the north here in Skyrim, so in most of the outfits that she has, she'll have something draped around her neck, some sort of additional warmth. She's also got, I believe that these black leggings underneath, I kind of picture those as really tightly woven tights or leggings or something like that, that keeps her legs nice and warm. As I look at Kinlen, just to describe her, as you can see her in front of us, but I imagine that Kinlen is about 5'11", vastly different in body shape and size from my previous character, Mala, who was 5 feet nothing on a good day. Kinlen is tall, she's strong, she's got big bones, and you can see also when she walks that she's got this really strong, manly walk. That's actually from a mod. I have a mod in which makes Kinlen walk like a guy. And the reason why is partly because of Season 1, which you'll have to go back and take a look at that. If you want that explained, it's by episode 10. All will be revealed to you in Season 1. And also, though, because Kinlen is, she is just always bumping her elbow on these the helms of her swords. So if she doesn't walk in this way where you can see her arm is kind of crooked out around her swords, if she doesn't walk like that, she'll have a very sore elbow. So she learned early on to just sort of, you know, put a little strut in it, basically. So yeah, this is this is outfit number 1. This is a light armor version of the same outfit. And basically everything the same, slightly different tights, that whole thing. Still with the pack on her back. She will use this one when she's just out walking the roads or out traveling and not expecting a lot of trouble. But she doesn't wear this one too often. Like, for example, you can see with the boots, these boots are actually, I don't know if they're actually categorized as armor, but in my mind, from a roleplay perspective, they're just plain boots, you know, no armor factor there. That brings us to her city outfits. And being a role player as well as a diehard simmer, if you've played The Sims, I had a great deal of fun in dressing up my character and spent much longer than I care to admit on looking for the perfect outfits for her and the perfect mods to dress her up so she had all these different looks. And then, of course, when you get in game, you forget to use them. But it was a great deal of fun to do. and to show to you as well in this episode. This outfit is her city outfit number 1, and it just is, you can see the warmth. She's always going for things warm and up over the knees. Her city outfit number 2 is actually pretty special, and it's for the more colder climes. We're heading to Dawnstar in the Pale pretty soon, and she'll need this if she's going to spend a lot of time up there. This one also has some particular significance because it is her mother's jacket and skirt. And it's actually a little flashier. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. It's a little flashier than Kinlen would feel comfortable wearing on her own. However, because it is her beloved mother's, and she thinks very fondly of her mother when her mother was still alive, it also has this neat little, you can just see it there, a pack on the back. But because it is her mother's, and her father loves to see her when she's wearing this. Yeah. Oh, there you can see the pack. That's cool. But it has like knives. These things are just decorative. But it's a very neat little outfit. So that is Kinlen's city outfit number 2. And then she finally has a formal outfit, which she'll wear when she is in residence here in Solitude, and she needs to attend events at Castle Dower. This is a beautiful skirt. Now, Kinlen is, you know, the way she walks, I mean, as much as finery she puts on, she still walks like a guy. Yeah, she walks in the dining hall like, hey. Yeah, okay. You strut it, girl. Anyway, and she will rarely take, she might take off both of her, one of her swords, but will rarely take off both of them unless she is sleeping. So Kinlen is a very early riser. I think her favorite time to wake up is maybe around, possibly a little bit later than my previous character Mala, who liked to wake up, you know, before the sunrise. But Kinlen likes to be up by 6 a.m. by the 6th bell or so. And so that is her particular loadout. Let's put her into the second outfit here, because Kinlen will be traveling today. So she dresses herself, and now this has a enchanted sword. So between now and the next episode, I'm going to actually move this enchanted bar that's on the bottom right here that shows up for a little while. I'm actually going to move that using, and while we're here, we'll talk a little bit about the mods. But I'm trying to remember the name of the mod that allows me to move things around. Immersive HUD. That's it. There's also another one that I have in here. Minimal HUD as well too. And I believe it is minimal HUD, yes. That will allow you to charge meters right here. Allow you to actually move it around. It's a little bit of a tedious method to do. You have to kind of guess where it is and start moving it around and see where it ends up and that kind of stuff. But eventually you're able to get it off of the screen, and you don't have to ever do it again, because I believe that this comes with, yeah, with an ability to save your loadouts between characters. So I already have the layout here, TJC for the Jessa Channel, that I'll use for every character. So that's why now that when I occasionally see other people playing Skyrim, I'm like, what is all that muck on the screen? I like to keep everything off the screen as much as necessary. So, I want to also show you, as I told you, Kinlen will spend every morning reading about the Code of Malakath, and we'll talk a little bit about that at the as we move on into the episode. But I wanted to take you now into showing you her levels. In between Season 2 and Season 3, during the break, I actually leveled Kinlen up a bit. I think we left her somewhere around level 20 or so, and we started off in Season 1 at level 1. And that'll probably be the last time I do that with a character, because I find it to be so much more interesting to have a Let's Play where the character has actually already got some perks under their belt, and we don't have to go through those same old levels 1 through 15 or 20 that we've seen so many times, and getting those beginning perks. I use a mod called the Skyrim Experience mod. And I love this mod. I've spoken to you about it before in different seasons, but a quick rundown of it is that it allows you to gain experience points for doing anything, any kind of adventuring in Skyrim. And if a mod author has added it to their mod, you can also gain experience points for things that you do in other mods. For example, a mod that might add dancing, for example. And so just going out and adventuring builds up your experience points, which you can then spend on leveling your character up. And when you click level up and you close up out of the screen, you'll actually get the bar, the level up notification that happens in vanilla Skyrim. The same thing, you'll get your perks and everything. Kinlen is currently at level 95 and one-handed. She specializes in just 4 skills. One-handed at 95, heavy armor at 95. She has some in block, but I haven't given her any perks in that. She has 80 in smithing and 80 in speech. The speech represents her training for diplomacy that she received from Brother Ramon at the Priory in Bruma. Brother Ramon is actually the great-grandson of a character that you can meet in the game of Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. And that character is named Issa Ramon, and she plays, or she is a trainer or a merchant, I think a merchant, at the Temple of the Divines in Bruma. So I liked adding that little bit of history into Kinlen's story. So this speech level represents her diplomacy training. Her smithing is at 80, and though I do not see Kinlen as a blacksmith at all, she is very trained to be able to take care of her own weapon and armor, as I've mentioned. She uses honed metal to be able to keep her armor and weapons up to snuff while out in the field. When she's back here, she's beginning to get used to using the whetstone, but for everything else, she'll generally have Biren do it, and I use another mod for that. I use the mod NPCs Can Craft to allow Kinlen to buy services from NPCs, craft services that the player would have to do themselves, such as blacksmithing, enchanting, and alchemy. Kinlen actually doesn't do any alchemy, no enchanting. She pays for all of those things through NPCs Can Craft, and it can allow you to assign a craft to any NPC in the world, and then you can buy the items from them. The menu that opens up is the same menu you see as a player, but you simply pay gold for the privileges. Because I use that mod, Kinlen frequently does not have a lot of coin. She's that whole problem that people have of your Dragonborn or your character in Skyrim being flush with cash is not the case in Kinlen's case. The most she's ever had is maybe around 8,000, maybe 10,000 gold, which she quickly spends on potions. She's got quite a lot of potions here. On throwing axes, steel throwing axes, and her newest orcish throwing axes. And you can see that she has enough that she won't need to, but she can go through these quite quickly, but she won't need to have any more made. But when she does, she'll head to Biren or the nearest blacksmith, usually Biren, because she believes his skills are create quality work. So that leads me to her loadout, her armor, weapon loadout, excuse me. In her left hand, she has Bloodkin, and that is a modded sword. You can see that in the mod list in the description. And I have renamed that using Jackson's renamer to reflect Kinlen's story. This is such a neat idea for roleplay. Really deepens your connection to your character. I highly recommend it. Jackson's renamer is a solid mod. As far as I know, I've never had any problems with it. So I renamed that to Bloodkin. This is the sword that she received when she came to Skyrim that was waiting for her at her campsite by an unknown benefactor. And this is a sword that she received after she completed her first important mission in Skyrim. And I'll tell you more about that. That sword, besides being poisoned, as you can see, has also got an enchantment on it from Winter Mist Enchants, and that enchantment is called Jagged. She recently, I mean, as in, she hasn't even used that sword yet, so she just had that done. I have a mod in which takes the textures of enchantments and tames them down quite a bit. And it's just a model texture replacer, and you can see that in the mod list under models and textures. The rest of her loadout basically consists of potion grenades for different things. The illusion is for the undead, so she'll throw these a lot at Draugr and do some good damage to them. Poison, Paralyze is very handy. And she'll save that for higher level enemies because it just would knock them right to the ground and allow her companions to come in there and get a good bite or 2 or 3 off of them. As far as anything else she's really carrying that's of important, her magic feather of silver, which she found in a chest somewhere, who knows, that gives her some extra carry weight, 100 extra carry weight. So she'll usually have that on. The game is not really, I'm carrying around all of her outfits. Now, in reality, of course, she would not be carrying around every single outfit she has, but to put them in the chest back here, then come over here, open the chest, put the outfits on, go back out, go shopping, it's just, no. So this is a gameplay choice, not a roleplay choice. She's going to go get some food before she heads out to the road. These are ingredients that she has bought. She doesn't pick ingredients, doesn't really know one flower from the next, so she doesn't even bother with it. These are all ones that she has bought that she's waiting to turn into potions. The true nature of the orc stays with her, and she has a scrap of paper here, and over here she has an inkwell for writing notes. I have role-played writing notes to various different people in her story, and so all of the things that she needs to camp I carry with her. Things that we, you know, this wooden bowl, this wooden ladle, this wooden plate, I've had those since the beginning. The wash rag, the soap, that's all part of bathing in Skyrim. And the golden claw. We all know what that is. And actually, I don't even remember Kinlen going through Bleak Falls Barrow, so I don't remember where I got that. I have to actually go watch my own content. So that's her loadout, her armor, her weapons, her enchantments, her levels. Now let's go to her perks. Ooh, I love that noise. You'll notice that my Skyrim is pretty quiet. I have a mod in which allows me to selectively choose the things I wanted to make a lot quieter. I wanted the game to be more of a background to the story. So there's a lot that I toned down or completely silenced. However, going into this perk tree is not one of them because I like how it sounds. In smithing, the one thing to note here, we've gone up to expert smithing over here so that she could increase, get better quality swords if she wants to, and be able to hone them while she's out camping. Over here is arcane blacksmith for enchanting things that are, improving things that are enchanted. But where we're going to be focusing on in Season 3 are these really cool dwarven autocannons with the remote control feature, so she doesn't have to be sitting right next to them. We're going to get these so that when Kinlen gets to the end of her story and we get to the final battle, which I'll talk about that, I'm being vague on purpose. When she gets to the final battle, she'll be able to have some of these autocannons, which could be really great for her. Over here, she's in heavy armor mastery. She's going to be being an Imperial as well. This is important to kind of rally the troops for her, as well as being a soldier of sorts. She's actually she's achieved the rank of Quester in the Imperial Legion. These are just some of the perks I've taken to make her harder to knock back or knock down or stagger. But what I really wanted to show you is this allows her to wear, not have to wear a helmet and get the all heavy armor perk, very important, is over here, being immune to some of these attacks that NPCs can have that come from this mod, which by the way, this perk mod is called Ordinator, and it is by Anai Sheon, and he is an extremely talented modder who has done some very well-known mods. So if you modded for even a second or two, even on consoles, his mods most of them are there. In any case, this is battle weary. Kinlen's fighting strategy is to wear down her opponent's stamina while maintaining her own stamina and speed. So her job is to slow them down and wear them down while speeding herself up and being able to maintain her stamina. So anything that allowed heavy armor to be able to, like for example, I think up here, heavy armor weighs as much and slows you down half as much. So that's pretty important. So that's where she's focused on heavy armor. I did have in season 2, I had some perks in block. I've decided to take them out for the simple reason that I, as a player, am not skilled enough with my button mashing to be able to block and hit and move and all of that. I'm just not very good at it. I don't think I ever will be. If you want really swift, exciting combat, I'm not your girl. I am not your girl. If you want deep story, got you covered. Otherwise, no. And even though I have a mod in which allows you to block with the swords, I wasn't able to hold it up and really keep it going. So I removed those and used them to be in a much more useful position. Over here is one-handed mastery. Particularly, this is all of her, all the perks regarding swords, but over here, this is the ones that we really want to concentrate on. Ravage. Whoops, went too far. Got excited. Over here. No. Let's try this again. There we go. Man of War and this one that we're going to be taking are all pertained to dual wielding, which is Kinlen's speciality. It was her mother's and it is hers as well. So when dual wielding in combat, she'll enter a murderous frenzy. This also ties into her story with Malakath and the Code and the Orcs, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Disciplined Fighter, reduces the stamina cost. So once again, that's what I was talking about. Any perk that I can find that makes her have less stamina drain, we're going to take that. And then finally, over here in speech, just 3 perks in speech, because there's a lot of this doesn't pertain to her. Bribery, she's never going to steal. She's very honest. This is all for shouts. This is for speaking with animals, which I will definitely have a character that does that at some point. This is for the bard, kind of the bard tree. None of that applies to Kinlen. She's going to buy items for 50% less when dealing with the same race. Since she's an Imperial, I haven't found an Imperial merchant. Biren, I don't think he is. I think he's a Nord. How do you tell anyway? Can't just ask him. Anyway, ask the NPCs. But if you know of an Imperial merchant that Kinlen could make one of the main merchants she trades with, let me know. Over here is to sell, this is very important, to sell any type of item to any kind of merchant, such a time saver. We're not going to worry about going any farther up this tree. However, I am going to, well, go with business relation. Nope, that's not it. Sorry about this. Can you traverse these trees very easily? Because I can't, as you can see. No, that has nothing to do with it. There is one more perk up here that I may have her take, and I don't see it right now. But anyway, whatever that perk is, there's one more perk I had my eye on in there. There's so many perks with Ordinator that it's hard to keep track of all of them. So that's her perk loadout, basically. That's all of Kinlen's perks, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing some of them in play, because many of them, particularly the ones in the one-handed tree, I have not seen in play, some of these great perks. So I highly recommend Ordinator. So that brings us to our story. So Kinlen's last name is Kinlen Tullius. And she is, as you can imagine, the daughter of General Tullius. And as we head down into the Solitude Tower passage, and by the way, this is a mod, Solitude Tower Loft, and Kinlen's father gave it to her as part of her sort of compensation for doing the work that he was asking her to do. We're going to head out into Solitude now, and then I will continue to tell you about Kinlen's story as we meet her companions. Oh, yeah. What a beautiful day. Kinlen quickly reaches into her pack and rifles around looking for, and it's pretty easy to find because it's huge, her wolf skin cloak. And adds her hood to it. And you will see out here 2 very soggy doggies. The soggy doggies with their big hit. Woof, woof.
Don't like big cities. Feel out of sorts.
And Brock. So I'm going to scoot over here so the dogs can move around a little bit. And this is a guard that her father has placed out here for her. And the dogs like to stay out here. They're welcome to stay in Kinlen's little area up there, but they prefer to stay out here, even if it's raining. But they are welcome to go inside. And this is Brock, who is from Interesting NPCs. He's a ranger. And Kinlen made his acquaintance when she was down south, heading towards the orc stronghold of Dushnik Yal. And, oh, who's a good girl? Let's give Scout a treat if we can. Yeah, perfect. She doesn't say much because she's a modded dog, but she enjoys her breakfast. And also one for Miko. You can see the vanilla dogs, but Scout's a modded added-in dog. In any case, Kinlen's story began when she was in Bruma and her father met with her, made a surprise visit one night. And let's see, make sure she's all covered up. Yes, she is. And he asked her if she was willing to undertake a special mission for him as her first real mission since joining the Priory, and she had been in training all this time. Kinlen was, or is in my imagination, fairly young, maybe 22 years or so, and she had led a pretty sheltered life, and that is in part because her mother, who was also in the employ of the Good morning, Hogard. Was also in the employ of the Emperor Titus Mede, same as her father is, as one of his generals. Her mother was a spy. She died doing her duty to the Empire, and her father, General Tullius, felt that it would be better to keep his daughter safe in the Priory than possibly lose his only and last loved one. Every morning, Kinlen likes to come out here when it is nice and sit down and enjoy a pipe, which I have on a keybind, so that it's great. She'll just sit right down cross-legged and she'll pull out a pipe and some smoke will come out and it's great. And she smokes Elf's Ear. It's not a narcotic. Just call it maybe a relaxer or something. I don't know. Anyway, imagine it's like she's one of the hobbits or Downduff puffing on his pipe. Anyway, excuse me, she will come out here and just listen to Captain Aldous as he trains the soldiers. And she likes to watch their form, and because she does spend some time in solitude, not much, but she does make an effort to try and speak to each guard by name. In any case, her father came to her and asked her if she would undertake a special mission. And that was to come to Skyrim and be basically his secret weapon in the Civil War, in the fight against Ulfric Stormcloak. To undertake missions of espionage, missions of doing everything that she could to help undermine the Stormcloak cause. Captain Aldous, good morning.
I'm waiting.
How goes the training?
The aim could be steadier. but they're battle ready.
It is good to know that.
Keep my men in your prayers. They'll need them if they don't shape up.
Well, I will keep them in my thoughts, at least. Kinlen's not very religious at all. Talos or anyone else. And, yeah, so basically he came to her, asked her, and her first task was to create an elite fighting force. So season 1 and a lot of season 2, some of season 2 was about that. And that brings up, let's head inside and then I'll show you her follower list. Epic music. I am using personalized music with numerous songs from all over the place to add some extra spice to Skyrim. I love that. It's awesome. It's so nice to hear a song that I put into the playlist so many months ago come up, and I don't hear it very often because certain songs only play in certain areas. Anyway, Kinlen has gathered so far the following people. Maik, the liar, who, despite his glib tongue, is the finest archer, or one of them, in Skyrim. And what she has done is she has slowly gone across Skyrim, reclaiming the different forts that the Stormcloaks have attempted to take, or taking them back from the Stormcloaks or whatnot. And then she leaves a follower at that location using the mod Hold and Defend. That follower will keep, and also reinforcements. She'll call reinforcements, and they will hold the fort. Reinforcements is a mod that I am using, which allows her to blow a horn, and actual Imperial guards and Imperial soldiers will come from the surrounding area and hold the fort along with her follower. It's a fantastic mod, those two mods working together. I showed you a lot of that in season 2. She also got to know Gorbash Ironhand as part of the Orc Proving, which I will tell you about in a little bit. And then finally, Brock, who you've met already, that she was impressed with his bow work, and particularly the fact that he could work with a bow or he could use a war axe in close quarters. Finally, there are her 2 hounds, both of whom she found here in Skyrim. You know about Miko. Many of you have played Skyrim. And then Scout is a mod that's added in that Kinlen discovered while she was first exploring Whiterun. And Scout is her lead hound, and Miko is sort of second in command. And they are throat rippers. They definitely take down many a foe. So Kinlen always travels with her hounds, but we've also seen her working and traveling with different people. She's currently with Brock, but she is, as I told you, about to head out on the road again, and that is to pick up the next person in her elite fighting force, and that is a mage and a healer. Using a mod called Be a Healer, this mage, who is from interesting NPCs, will actually heal the party and buff the party before fights. So that's going to be very neat to try out. Good morning. It was nice to see you at the castle last evening.
Hello and welcome, my friend. How may I help you on this fine day?
I need some arrows for my companion. What have you got?
Take a look.
We'll head over here to, to here, and sort by damage. And, oh, perfect. There's some orcish arrows, some steel arrows. You know, I know, of course, that I could pick arrows that have high damage, but also being a diehard role player, I'm picking the arrows that she believes Brock would be interested and comfortable in using. So these are all a bit too bright. This Zanziel arrow looks very close to orcish, so let's take those as well too. That will be 270 in coin. So as you can see, I told you Kinlen's coin goes quickly.
Perhaps I'll be seeing more of you.
I'll be walking out of town, going on a short journey, but I'll be back in the castle as soon as I can. So that is basically her elite fighting force. Her second aim was to let's have her warm her hands. Now this is going to involve me having to remember a keybind. One of the things about when you take off from Skyrim for as long as I've had to, unfortunately, I forgot all my keybinds. And Skyrim, you have so many things you have to remember. Her animation for warm hands is Alt number 1. Let's see if we can get that to work. Alt 1. Are you gonna warm? No? Yes? No? You're not gonna do anything for me? You're not gonna give me any love? It's gonna be like that? Okay, fine. Nope. I'm pushing the 1 and I'm pushing the Alt 1 and not getting anywhere. She's determined. She's like, no, I am not gonna warm my hands. I don't care. You can see she's actually dripping water on the floor. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, that's correct. While we're at it, actually, since she's here, let's see if we can at least get her to use her pipe. Yep. Alt key. This is AH hotkeys, which I love this mod. It's actually a little intimidating looking when you first use it, particularly because I used a much simpler mod for many years. But once you understand how it works, it's got a lot of power in it. A lot of power. It's great. So, let's see if we can get her to smoke her pipe at the very least. How about you sit over here next to the fire, maybe away from the cold draft of the door, and then let's see. Okay, that worked. You can see up in the right-hand corner that her pipe has been filled, and then let's see. Yeah. Okay, I have no idea why she wouldn't warm her hands. Maybe she's feeling stubborn this morning, but there's her pipe. And unfortunately, I can't get in any closer than this. It's just the way the animation works. I can't get the camera down. So we'll just have to watch her enjoying herself and imagine that she and the innkeeper are chatting. But in any case, her second order of business was to turn as many of the factions as she could across Skyrim to the cause of the Empire. And so with that in mind, and that's what happens when she finished, she just jumps up like that. But with that in mind, she was sent to the Orc stronghold to gather their favor. Unfortunately, the Orcs were not just going to let her waltz in there and start dictating terms, despite her high diplomacy skills. They required that she do the Forge Master's Fingers quest, which is something that you do in vanilla. That's how you become a bloodkin or welcome in the Orc strongholds. But then also she had to go through something that I called the Orc Blood Proving. It was basically an arena that was created, that I used mods to create in Dushnik Jarl's courtyard. And the Orc Chieftain gave her, and actually let's take care of her swords. Gave her some enemies to fight. And the thing with the Orc Proving is that she had to prove that she really had the blood, the spirit, the soul of an orc. And it looks like he's not open for business. What time is it?
Return anytime you need.
It's 10 a.m.
Or armor.
Get back with
Wanderer
it.
like you must have plenty of tales to tell. But I'm afraid I'm too busy to hear them.
I don't even know what he's doing. He's too busy. Mopping. It's past 10, so I have no idea why he won't let me shop. Okay. Well, we will come back in a little bit, but we still have to go to the inn and pick up some food for the road. Kinlen eats a lot. She's a big girl with a big appetite. In any case, the Orc Blood Proving required that Kinlen remove all of her armor that she was wearing, her 2 swords, her enchantments, everything, and wear an unenchanted set of full orc armor and only orc weapons. And then she had to go through 3 rounds of increasingly difficult fights. The orc blood proving was great fun for me and a highlight for me as a role player. Putting it together, getting the mods to work in the way that I envisioned, then role-playing it out. And the fun thing is that I did not know how the orc blood proving would end. If she failed the blood proving, she failed. If she was defeated, she was defeated. If she died, period. So she did succeed, but it really was at the skin of her teeth. She basically pulled all of her fury and all of her fire from her belly, and she was taking down this Falmer archer, which one more arrow and she would have been goner. She cornered him, and she just beat him down with her orc war axe and was welcomed as a bloodkin. As a result, she was able to ask for Gorbash Ironhand to leave the stronghold and follow her as a follower. He is currently at Dushnik Yal gathering orc followers to take up to a new orc stronghold. And this is where we ended season 2 with doing the first episode, or the first part of Fight for the Thalmor. There are 4 episodes. So during the first episode of that, which gave us Adal Matar, I'll show you here on the map. This was way down here above the East March Imperial camp, and her father sent her a message, and he frequently does send her messages on what he wants her to do next. Adal Matar here is the new stronghold that Gorbash Ironhand is the chieftain of Kinlen, and he planned to make it a tribute to the orcs, as well as being an imperial checkpoint for watching traffic over the mountains from people coming and going into Morrowind, looking for, traders, that kind of stuff. Good morning.
Welcome to the Winking Skeever, friend.
Thank you. I'm wondering what you have on offer for today. I'm starving and I'm going to need some food for the road.
Take a look.
So I have gone and cracked open the creation kit, even though I'm terribly frightened of it, but I keep trucking away and learning to add the mods, add the foods from Nordic Cooking, which is a mod available on the Nexus, which has these great foods here. And Kinlen loves these, like this hash, this venison stew. And the whole point of the mod is that it just makes these foods that have long-lasting buffs that aren't too well, I hate that word, overpowered, but they last long instead of giving you 5 points here, 5 points there. So that when she eats a good breakfast, she's kind of fortified throughout the day, so to think. And I have made them available because they weren't showing up at the innkeeper's list, so I went in and learned how to do that. So we're going to add those. She's going to have some tea. She's not much of a drinker of any way, but she'll have a hero. And no carrot juice. Let's see. Jug of milk. She loves milk, particularly in her tea. But she will drink it if it's very cold. Like that jug, she will take that jug and put it in the river overnight when she's camping, so it's nice and chilled for the morning. And bread. Kinlen is an unabashed bread lover. Apple pie. And, vegetable soup, which is a wonderful thing for stamina, but also it just so happens that Kinlen loves it, which is very good. And if a character, for example, I ever played a character that didn't eat meat, I would not break that rule. I mean, they don't eat meat, so they don't eat meat. I wouldn't buy meat for them. Thank you.
Remember the Winking Skeever next time you're footsore.
Well, I will. After I get back from this trip, I expect I will need to put, as they say, a load off. So that's basically Kinlen's story in Skyrim. We're going to head back out here, actually. Into this horrible rain. So if we can head back up to Kinlen's loft, and you can also see where her loft is located as it pertains to Solitude itself, which I love this city. I really love Solitude, and it's really nice to have a character whose home base is here. But that tower right there, that is Kinlen's home. And it was a guard's barracks, and her father commissioned it and cleaned it out. This is also from a mod, as you know, because the gate does not normally look like this. You can see it in models and textures. Hero, H-I-R-O, is part of its name. That's how you'll find it. And I will have this in every playthrough just because it just seems so important, and the work on it is fantastic. You get up close, it looks great. And it just really says this is a capital city, an ocean-faring capital city, and a port into Skyrim. Kinlen does not like walking by that every day, so that's why she normally will walk the battlements. And good old rain clipping through walls and windows and everything else. Gotta love you, Skyrim. So I'm going to finish up this episode with heading back into the Solitude Tower passage so that I can just show you some of... There we go. So Kinlen can sit down for a moment before she takes off and read any notes or messages that have been given to her by her father. So General Tullius, as you have seen in the game, is a man with no nonsense. And when, well, I won't say too much because I don't want to ruin Season 1 if you haven't seen it. But basically, Kinlen would receive notes from him from time to time, and as well as notes from myself to help me remember Brother Ramon and Issa Ramon, who was a priestess of Talos in Bruma. The last note that Kinlen received at the end of Season 2 was a message saying that I have received word of trouble brewing in eastern Skyrim. Report to the Imperial camp in Eastmarch and make your way to Adalmar, an orc stronghold. PS is an important two letters there. We'll go to the last letter here. Her father, whose name, by the way, is Patronus Saul Tullius. Patronus Saul Tullius. So PS is how he will always sign his notes, by leaving a PS. And this morning, Kinlen found a new note shoved under her door when she woke, or up under her trapdoor over here. And it says as follows. Quester. When Legate Rike brought this matter to my attention, I did not believe the report. Then you presented your latest report to me, and I saw for myself this face paint. You have smeared on yourself like some common barbarian. I have seen many of the orcs who've presented themselves for training, and some of them had this same symbol on their faces, so I can only conclude that your mission to gain the favor of the orcs has been taken more personally than diplomacy required. Let me make one thing perfectly clear, Kinlen. You are an emissary of the Emperor's Imperial Legion under my direct command. I will not hesitate to strip the privileges of the rank of Quester from your service and send you packing back to Bruma in disgrace. When you next present yourself at Castle Dower, you will have on the attire I have given you and be in compliance with regulations. As I have told you many times, you have your mother's beautiful face. That you could cover it in muck is a disservice to her legacy. I have been called back to the Imperial City to report to the Emperor. When I return, I will expect you to be prepared to assist in taking the Pale at Dunstad. P.S. I understand that your mission to capture the pass at Adalmatar was successful. Good work. That will be a key checkpoint in observing illegal crossings in Morrowind. Now go wash your face. Well, it looks like Papa Tullius was unhappy with Kinlen's look, and what he is referring to is the final thing that I will show you, which you've seen already on her face here. Let's see, we'll take off the cloak and the hood. As Kinlen walked the roads of Skyrim in company of Gorbash Ironhand at the end of Season 2, he taught her more about the ways of the orcs. You might wonder why Kinlen, such a well-brought-up girl, would be so interested in such an alien race of people so different from her. But Kinlen has never felt that strong. Despite the fact that she can wield these swords like nobody's business, she has never felt the power that she felt when she took down that Falmer. Something inside her, it's like her blood started to boil. But yet, it's not savagery. It's not barbarism, as her father thinks it is. It's a code. It is. There are laws. There's honor involved. So Kinlen is in complete disagreement with her father. She's wearing this orc face paint, which is custom. I added in from a mod, which you can see on the mod list, and changed its color to look somewhat like a kind of clay or mud clay, I guess you'd find by a riverbed. And one night, Gorbash Ironhand painted this on Kinlen's face, explaining that it was a sacred symbol for those who had found their way home to the orc stronghold, meaning those who were, whether they are orc in race or not, who had been born outside the stronghold, but through circumstances and perhaps divine intervention, made their way back to the stronghold, to the orc family, and become blood kin. That is not just a light word. It literally means a sister to the orcs. The orc mother, now Kinlen's mother. The chieftain, now Kinlen's father. Gorbash, now an orc brother. True kin. And for Kinlen, as an only child and having lost her mother, it's extremely enticing. So she drank that orc Kool-Aid and asked for a second helping. But seriously, yeah, she really believes in the Code of Malakath, and we'll be looking out for any books that she might be able to find for that. So a question for you. Do you know of books in Skyrim that pertain to the orc culture that Kinlen could look for in her travels? If you do, let me know in the comments below. And that brings, to an end, the first episode of Season 3 of Kinlen's stories here in Skyrim. I am so glad that you joined me for this episode, and I am so glad to be back here in Skyrim. And in the next episode, we're going to head out and find that healer and add to Kinlen's elite fighting force. And that's what we're going to be doing as we head into the second episode of Season 3 of Kinlen Civil War story in Skyrim. I want to thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed what you saw, please hit the thumbs up button below. And if you loved it, join the party and subscribe. I'll see you back here in solitude in the next episode. And as always, thank you so much for watching.